Okay.
For all of the people, and as they come in, they can check them off, and one of the columns would be, are they valid?
No, I think I'm struck out.
Richard, do you want to take these?
Yes. So, thank you guys.
Yeah, there'll be a couple things, like you just gonna be one of those I affirm that all the information is
Nathan,
given.
you're dated,
blah, blah, blah,
and then this is your blank.
Because then it says, if any of that comes in, then
Okay.
you can just,
I think that's why you gave it.
I know.
You just, do you want this? You can have
I
it.
did it.
You can have it.
It's somewhere.
Putting the existing priority is a good idea.
Okay, on the ones that have already voted, yes.
right.
Okay, it's 7:24 and we are reconvening into the regular open session for the regular meeting. Summary of current events. Does anybody have anything?
I have a letter that came in, that Walt asked me to read. I'm not gonna read, it has 4 pages attached to it, but somehow I'm not gonna do that. I'm not gonna read the 4 pages. I have made copies for the 2 of you. And this was sent in by Walt Michaels, and it came to me it was emailed to me on July 3rd. It said, I have attached copy of a letter I wrote in March of 2009 with regard to several statements made in the annual report of the president at that time. Many of the statements made at the 6/23/2018 meeting were a repeat of what was said in the annual report with regard to irrigation scheduling system and to the borrowing of money by the district. I believe you need to read my reply to these statements that I have made in my reply to that annual report as they apply to the same statement made at the 6/23/2018 meeting. Also, in regard to the change you demanded to the budget, I would also like to note that some of the members of the budget committee walked out of the meeting after they were approved. As for that, I believe you have lost the number of homeowners that have spent much time serving the district and will no longer serve on a committee for the district again. I, for one, feel the same and will no longer serve on a committee for the district as our input seems to be ignored. And again, I'm not going to read the 4 pages because it's dated from 2009, but I do have, I made copies for the board.
I have a copy.
We
You
got
have
it.
a copy?
We got it.
Okay.
So
So if, you want to read it, it's there, but I did that.
I hate to lose him over $12 a year.
Yeah. Well, I'll bring that up again.
It's 10,000 a year, it's $12 individually, it's 10,000, it's 10,000.
Yeah,
If we
I
want to
did-
quantify it down to $12,
Okay,
we
okay,
can. It's $10,000 a year.
Well,
Let's remember what it is as a total.
Sure.
I have a couple of things. I think that we need to set up someone, if they're willing, either Bustos or, or Jeremy, if he would be interested in doing it. We need to set up an inventory of what we have, what we buy, and everything. Well, it needs to be spelled
Aren't
out.
you guys doing
Well,
it?
let me tell you why I'm requesting this. I understand that some of the pipe that we bought to do repairs, I understand that some of that are for replacing a line. I understand that some of that has been used to do repairs. And at that point in time, I don't think that gets depreciated. So somehow we need to keep track of the inventory, and that's all what I'm asking. I don't know. But anyway, we'll have to put it on the agenda. And the other item is, I don't understand, and maybe we're going to cover it in here. There was an email that was sent to me concerning payment to a vendor. I am quite at a loss at who this vendor is, how much the money was to pay for the vendor, and I don't even remember passing a motion to pay a vendor. So that probably should be on the next agenda.
Who was the vendor?
I have no idea. It was the email that was, actually, it was sent to me, and I think you got a copy of it, didn't you, about paying a vendor? Asking you to
Did I not
inquire
get
about it? No, you sent it. I can pull it out, that's no problem. I haven't, but no.
It doesn't ring a bell,
It
but I
was
get-
sent,
Was
it was
it-
sent to you.
And they sent us a
It was
bill?
something originally, no, it wasn't a bill.
Was it
It was, please Larry, pay this vendor for, and I thought it said a record search of some kind, but I don't remember passing anything for getting records. I don't know, I can pull it off and say, or I can
That's not
copy
it?
it and I have no idea. It did not have a vendor's name, it just said payment to a vendor. And vendor can mean a lot of things to me, but
I don't know,
that's,
but I don't know what
I
that's
have,
about,
well,
but-
I'll send you. your
Send it to
email.
me.
I will send it to you.
Please.
Yeah, I can send
Okay.
it to you.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it.
Anything? Okay. All right, approval of minutes. The regular Board of Directors meeting for April 3rd and regular Board of Directors meeting June 5th and special Board of Directors meeting June 20th and special Board of Directors meeting June 26th. So have you all, this one is so long ago. And for whatever reason, it slipped through the crack and we just didn't see it on the agenda until now. But has everyone had a chance to look at these?
I did. I did.
You did.
I did too.
I didn't see anything, but I did.
Okay, do we have a motion to approve all four?
I make a motion to approve the regular Board of Directors meeting for April 3rd and June 5th, and the special Board of Directors meeting on June 20th and June 26th, 2018.
I second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. Okay. Next item, Kathy Hacker, financial reports.
Okay, these were sent out a week or so ago, and I didn't hear anything from anybody, so I presume there weren't any major questions, but over them briefly, the water fees are over budget through the month of May due to low water delivery. Member fees are right on budget. Transfer fees are down, and that's just something we can't control. That's based on the number of homes that are sold. Finance charges have increased, and that goes along with the increase in accounts receivable. People just are not paying on time, and there's finance charges that are being approved. Account 311 purchase power is over budget. Again, that's related to our water delivery. Irrigation labor is over budget year-to-date about $5,000, which isn't too far in line. The irrigator's health insurance, account 372, is under budget. Again, that has to do with the option of some of the employees not to subscribe to the district's health care or application. Going down into the overhead costs on a year-to-date basis, everything is pretty much okay until we get to account 417.1 direct labor. This is on maintenance and repair. We are over budget almost $28,000 for the year. Although we have cut back on an employee in the month of May, we reduced by an employee, so payroll taxes are also going to do with labor. Going down, the next one is really over budget, is legal expense, account 441, which is what we've been aware of through the things that went on in the district this past year. We had to seek legal counsel.
Missed the tractor expense.
That went back to expenses that were incurred on the,
$5,561 over.
yeah. That was prior to May, I think it went back to December. That one I don't.
We had a tractor repair that we had to do on the front end or something, I don't remember too.
And that was, I don't remember what month that occurred in, but it was prior to May.
Right, yeah.
Well, it hasn't been prior to May, because this is the May financial.
Well, right, but it
Oh,
wasn't.
you're just saying something occurred in the month of May.
It did not occur in the month of May.
Right.
It occurred prior, because that's why it's showing up in year-to-date. There's, for the month of May, it's basically under budget. I think it's back to December, actually.
I think it was December.
And then, other than that, there really isn't too much difference on the year-to-date. Looking at the balance sheet, which is the next report. We did adjust, we renamed the accounts, changed anything really about the balances, but we had account 117 is the operating fund, 118 is the emergency fund, and 114 is the capital fund. Those are the three main bank accounts. Our accounts receivable is up considerably over a year ago. There is the last page of the report shows the aging summary. We do have, getting into the inventory, we have $13,000 for inventory, which was the pipe that was purchased earlier in the year to take care of gas plants. And I haven't heard anything as far as using any of that material, so there should still be $13,600 worth of material in piping sitting there to be used for capital expenditures.
And to that point, if we have a bunch of pipe out there and we capitalized it, do we just lock that out of our repair inventory? That we can't use it, and that doesn't make sense to have a whole bunch of pipe out
It's
there.
sitting
You
there.
didn't capitalize it.
No, it was purchased with
No,
the
wait.
intention, it was purchased with the intention of capitalizing it.
But we did not.
No, we put it in the inventory, because if we take any of that out of, if we're using any of that pipe, it
I
needs to
thought
be
you
removed.
said capitalized.
No, we paid for it out of capital funds.
But we did not actually add it on.
Okay, I
to
got
the
that.
replacement.
Okay,
So if we use any of those pipes, Brenda needs to be made aware of how much is coming out of inventory, so that we can either capitalize it if that's what it's used for, or it becomes part of repair and
you're
maintenance.
gonna have to keep track of
And
it.
if you do that, you should transfer from the operating fund to the
Yeah.
capital fund and pay it back.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, okay, got it. Okay, and the other question I have, and I just sent Brenda an email about this. We've been running about 120,000 on the AR aging summary for the total for the year. It seems like for a long time we've been running around 120,000. And suddenly it's 151.5 now. And I know we got Connie James' house covered, and it seems like we've gotten one or two others. But I'd like to know what's happening there. Who is going over 90 days, and who's coming off?
The majority of that is those ones that I emailed you guys today, or those 9 or 10
Yeah,
statements.
those are all with Alan.
Yeah.
Alan's
Yeah.
not going fast enough.
I just added those in my head, that's like 130,000 or something. by
And this is
itself,
151.5.
Yeah, so,
That's horrible.
Doesn't that include your billing for the month though?
Well,
every
it
month
does,
it gets
but
bigger.
we were at 67 or so, I think, on the over 90. It's at 90.
But that's what I'm saying,
It
your
includes
AR
your-
is, your AR is from the day that you bill, so
Yeah.
you take out the
Right.
current, which
Yeah.
is,
Right,
if you take the current stuff out, then it would only show you what's.
right.
That's
But
what I
to go
saw
from
in the report.
67
I
to
I
99.
see the aging, and it's broken down between what's current, what's 31 to 60, 61 to not
On
today's
which
date.
page?
That's why I requested that if we could put those on two different lines so we could see that.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
I don't know, I sent you that report and I didn't hear, I didn't know if that's what you, because I wasn't at that meeting, I didn't know what it was you're looking for.
Walt said we couldn't do it.
Well, I know, but I did do something.
I asked,
Okay.
And I
Terry
sent
asked
it
if
to
we
you
could do
guys.
that
Okay.
without.
And
Walt.
I didn't hear, so I don't know.
Oh.
Well, that's what I'm saying, is that within 90 days, it doesn't even look like you've got $6,000-7,000 within 90 days. Everything else is, that's a huge number, looks like you got 140 grand over.
Yeah.
Well, and this
There's-
depends on what time, when the report is run too, doesn't it? As compared
Well, this is the end of the
to...
month.
This is the.
This is the end of the month, so as of May and current, which would be the current month's billing, you've got $47,000. That's the
Right, but that's not in this, this is not accounting for $47,000 of billing in this. Because that'd be in the 1 to 30 if you count June.
Yeah.
So it's not in there. So that's what I'm saying, so that 47,000 that you guys have billed for the month of dues is not part of this number. So this is
Right.
just the stuff that's passed. So you've got 1942 looks like you're above, and then you're down 31 to 60, 5,700 almost, and then 61 to 90, you're just under 1,400, then over 90, you're just under 99,000.
Yeah.
Those
Right,
columns
and that's
all
the
have
one I'm
costs.
really worried about.
No, and I agree with that, but this is not, if you were to include the 40, whatever the 47,000 that you're billing out now, this number would be close to 200,000.
It is included in the 151, is what I'm telling you.
Everything, the grand total is 150.
Current, yes, I see the current, right. But I'm saying,
So if you take the current out,
it's just,
then it would be 104,000
oh, right.
Right,
total. But the problem is the over 90 days, the 98,000.
that's the huge
And
problem.
you guys said that's the one that you guys have got, what, 15 properties locked up in?
Yeah, about
Most of
12,
it?
12, I think.
Or 12 or whatever?
I think,
It's sad though, because there's people that haven't paid in over 10 years.
and,
I mean,
why can't Alan do something about it?
Yeah, I think personally, I think he's the wrong attorney to be in. I've said for years, he works when he wants to, and not, I mean, I think he's semi-retired. I think we need to turn that over to an aggressive collections attorney. Somebody that's what they do, is collect money for past due accounts.
Just as an aside here, Flick, back in the day, you and I were on board to rehire him again because he had some huge problems where he hadn't done a thing for months and months and months. So I guess we have to accept some of the blame, but he's been a problem for 10 years.
Yeah.
The only good news is, he takes as long to do that work as he does to bill us.
That's not a good
But see, that goes back to what you're paying for, so I mean,
Right.
you can shy away on a $3,000 or
And
$5,000 bill and have $99,000 sitting
Right,
there.
so, and this is not on the agenda, but, we can't really make a decision on that, but I don't know if the right decision is to go ahead and reconvene the building and collections committee and have them look at it and see what we can figure out with it and make a recommendation to the board.
Well, I was on that committee a little bit, and that committee was more worried about up to 90 days and not so worried after 90 days. They made no recommendations on how to collect the biggest amount. That committee was worried more about how we're going to treat the people that won under 90 days.
That was hoping that if we caught them early, they wouldn't slip into the 90 days. And we didn't ever address the 90 days, but I think we could.
I think this kind of shows us a lot here.
You guys have tremendous power.
The current, though, is 47, $1,900 in 1 to 30, and the 30 is 56, and then you go down to 90, the 90 is only 1,300. People are going to forget to pay 1 month, or they're behind on money. Our problem is not the 190 days. That fluctuates as different people step over. Our problem is we're not collecting. After 120 days, we need to be very aggressive.
All right, let me add on here to, I thought I reestablished the billing committee at the beginning of the year, but it's not on the ad hoc.
Well, I think back in May, you guys, it was on the agenda and there was no action.
Okay. Well, we've had several that there's been no action on, so let's just put it back on the ad hoc committees, and I will get a meeting.
We can make a recommendation at the end of the board to reconvene it and put it on the agenda for next month.
Okay. Well, I don't think we need to, actually, but we can do that if you want. Okay.
Any other questions?
I do. If I can have a quick question on it. So going back up to the capital fund, that seems to be my little thing. We are fully funded on the emergency fund, right? As of May, we're over $125,000, correct?
Yeah.
And we have, as of the end of May, we have $30,900 plus. And we have the June transfer would be another $14,320. Is that right, Brenda?
Yes.
So that would be,
45.
So 45, and we have essentially $153,000 in depreciation before the assessment, correct? $150,860 if we want to be exact. So we're looking at, just because I want to get my plug in because we're going to call the election. We have $322,000 at our disposal before we voted the $10,000 assessment in. That's a lot of money. That's just a lot of money. To assess $10,000 on top of that, to make it $332,000. That's a lot of money.
It was to cover what, the third
Our
line?
third line that we had to have, we couldn't do without.
Okay, all right, anything else on the financials? All right, do I hear a motion to approve the filing?
I make a motion to approve the filing the financials for May 31st, 2018 for filing.
Second.
All in favor, aye. Okay, motion carries. Richard, your report and your pump report?
I gave you the pump report last time. I apologize, my typist has been out of town, and I won't be back for another 2.5 weeks, so I'll have to read it to you, and I'll get it right. Thanks to homeowner Misty Jurgensen, Wicklander Jurgensen.
Jernigan, Wickeser.
What?
Wickeser, Jernigan.
For bringing in bagels for the staff. It was a nice treat to have, and I'll explain why she brought it in down here. We did 5 repairs were made for this month. One of them being a crossover on line 1. We had to stop the pump to fix it for about 3 hours. Thanks for the homeowners on line 1 and 2 for being so understanding. So next irrigation on line 1 east of that crossover, another break occurred, which is very unusual. And I call them crossovers. Line 1 from 43rd Avenue going west is kind of in the south rut, between the fence and the south rut. And then they have those little short crossovers to it. And 2 of them blew in 2.5 weeks.
And they were both crossovers.
Well, I call it a crossover, but if the line was where it should be, it would have been a riser. But we're having trouble with those all of a sudden on that line. And we were so far down that bridle path flooded, and the irrigator was on dead end 1. And when he caught it, he panicked. It was like 5 in the morning. And we called, he called me and Andy both, and we couldn't stop it. We jumped around trying to relieve the pressure, so we just had to shut it off. So now we had to call everybody on 1 and 2 and say, hey, you're not getting water. We'll have to call and tell you when you are. So anyway, it went well. So she was the last person on line 3, so she was very appreciative. Line 7 and 8 at 49th Avenue is getting done with a few hiccups. The pipe is across the street at 7 and 8. That's the part the city did for us underneath. We have tied in on line 7 on the east side, and we've started digging on the west side on this Monday, July 2nd. We've had 2 mishaps with Blue State, so we didn't have them out again today, and they've changed their mind a couple of times. But we're going to proceed come Thursday. The contractor hit our line going on line 8 while we were irrigating it. It was not a bad one, but Juan stayed late and got it fixed, so we could keep irrigating on line 7 and 8. We will connect line 8 on the week of July 16th. That's when we'll be off that week. And again, the line's there. I just got to go from the standpipe to the connection on the east side, and then from the west side, I'll only go on about 20 feet, if that, and go right back into the old line for now. The homeowner's shade for his motorhome flew off the and landed on our 39th Avenue property. It hit the HOA's container and ended up leaning up against our tractor. No harm on it. The homeowner called me, and I went out Saturday. We moved the tractor, checked it out. it ruined the tunnel, the turbine vent, whatever, you know. It ruined that. The homeowner then hired a crane. We lifted it off, it was 1,100 pounds, and when he picked it up, it was like a kite. The homeowner was holding one tie rope, and I was holding the other, and that wind caught that thing and jerked that rope right out of our hands, and the crane operator dropped it again to keep it from flying. And so we were very fortunate, but the homeowner was very appreciative. I've called the HOA. They said, oh, we saw the vents back on. I said, oh, the homeowner took care of everything. So Tim called me and said he would check it out this Friday. So everything's okay. So that's it.
Okay. All right, I want to look at, so the 43rd Avenue pump is at 94%.
It's running extremely high again, and gallon-wise, and the 43rd Avenue pump has dropped down to each line, splitting it in half, 17 gallons a minute more than a year ago. I look at a year ago to see what it was pumping compared to now, and then kind of watch the trends.
And then what is the shutdown data here? What is that setting for? Startup and shutdown data.
Well, that's on the report. I get all that information, you know, the mileage, the kilowatts.
Okay.
So I just printed everything out because that's what you want on the website.
Any questions? Questions? Okay. All right.
Can I ask a question? Victor, are you being sent these?
No.
You want them?
They're available on the
Yes.
website.
Are they on the website?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I just started that, Victor. Richard gave them to me last week and I put them on.
Okay, but prior to that, they were not, correct? 'Cause
No.
Yeah, one time I get them when you give them to me.
Okay, Brenda, custodian of records.
There were 6 public records requests fulfilled and collected 90 cents.
Okay, thank you. Okay, ad hoc committees, the employee handbook, we had a meeting yesterday, and we got all the way through the main handbook with all of the comments and suggestions from the attorney. And the only other two, we'll have probably one more meeting, and there's 2 other items that we want to consider adding to it. So other than that, everything is going well with that. Employee evaluations? No.
We haven't had a meeting on the next two.
Okay, and personnel files? No. And depreciation, Victor?
We've not had a committee because Walt and I were too pissed off after the last meeting, so we just didn't have one, so. But I do want to make a comment. We are going to have a meeting here very shortly. And are we, if we find double depreciation, if we as a committee recommend that it comes off, because there is no accounting procedure to say you double depreciate an asset,
Right.
is that going to come off?
I don't know why it wouldn't.
Okay.
You agree,
Sure.
Kathy?
No,
I don't see why we would leave it on there at all.
Okay, so then it's going to reduce our capital budget by whatever we're double depreciating.
Right.
So even if it's more than the $10,000 assessment that you put on, if we find $20,000 in double depreciation, then,
Might need it.
so we just leave it on then for a while.
No, we might need the 10,000 is what I was saying.
Oh, well, you might need more than that if you want to do whatever you want to do. You voted the assessment because you needed it, so you might have to vote another assessment for another $10,000 if we find $20,000 in depreciation. That's what I'm saying. There is some, I know there is some, but I just don't know how much there is because
Okay.
it's going to take it's going to take several weeks to get through it.
Right, so I think until you guys have done your inventory,
Okay.
and that no decision will be made until then. And you guys will just make a recommendation to the board
Sure.
at that point. Okay, all right. Old business, discuss and possible action on pending
Election
insurance.
procedure.
Oh, I'm sorry, election procedure.
We're gonna be having a meeting, Thursday at,
We didn't get the notice out, and tomorrow is a.
I thought we did.
No,
Oh, shoot.
yeah, I emailed that to you and I,
Well, I saw the minute, I saw the, well, then guess what?
Next week. It'll be after you're back.
it might be better.
After I'm
because-
back,
Oh,
no, I'm not going anyplace until August.
well, it might be better. Dave Rich was a little
I saw that,
questionable.
I saw that.
And-
Why don't we schedule it for, I can't do it on the 10th because I'm meeting all day long. Why don't we try it for Thursday at 6 o'clock? I'm gonna try to hold these meetings,
The following week.
yeah, the following Thursday, 6 o'clock. Let's see, Peggy, do you have your schedule? Do you have something going on?
Yeah, it should be okay.
You should be okay?
What date is that?
The
It's
12th.
the 12th.
Okay, and we are going to, depending on how this works out, I plan on holding several meetings to try to get this ironed out so we can get the information out to our homeowners on how this new voting is going to happen. So I'm gonna hopefully be able to flood, once we get everything down, is flood them with information on how this voting procedure is gonna go. So,
I would just
We
like
can
to
do that.
point out that the committee, do we want the committee to do that, or shouldn't the board do that?
well,
Because
the
the
committee,
committee-
well, the
the
committee
committee
can
doesn't
do
make
it. Well, it
decisions.
has, it'll go through the board.
Right.
But I think what we need to do is if we have something decided, because this thing is gonna be so foreign to everybody out there, and how their votes are gonna go, and how their acres are, divided up, how many people are, on the deed and stuff, I think we do need to keep them informed and keep
Absolutely.
the information out.
I
I really
totally
do.
agree. Okay.
And we should have a lot more people register because of this, because these-
Well, I think we should, because basically, if, you own two acres, and, you get one vote, the other person gets one vote, you're throwing a vote away if you don't come and register. And I think that's gonna be a little contentious with some of the people, but they need to understand that.
There's an ARS that describes it that we are bound by, unfortunately, fortunately.
I understand that, but it still doesn't matter on, if they're used to voting, okay, one vote. Now if they find out, okay, I own 2 acres and I might lose,
Hey,
An acre vote.
Did you ever find out that ARS? I never saw it. I don't know where it is.
I sent you the email, and it's highlighted.
but anyway, we'll get into
Look at
that
your
once
email.
we get the committee going.
it's important even for the 1 acre ones.
Oh, yeah,
because if
oh,
there
yeah.
are 2 people on 1 acre,
You're
and
gonna
they're used
lose
to,
half a
and they're
vote.
used to 1 vote, and they've got 2 people on it, they both got a half a vote, so it's important for even the 1 acre people to be
Right.
aware of
Absolutely.
it.
But when you think about it, to mitigate people's concern about it, it's no different than if I want to vote for president and my husband wants to stay home. So one
Well, it's
vote
different
didn't
in the
get,
fact
That's not
that
contingent upon land.
we've been doing, well, it's different
Only
because we've been
because
doing
we've
it a
done it.
different way
I
for
know.
40 years.
I know.
Or 50 years or whatever.
But if you also look at it, the structure has all changed and some people are going to get more votes than they used to
Sure.
have. So that's all hopefully going to balance out, so.
When does,
All right.
one last question, when does registration close? Brenda, do you know?
September,
Hold on, I got
Yeah,
that.
I think September 19th, if I'm not mistaken.
yeah, I was gonna say either the 9th or the 19th.
So,
Yeah.
It's a 19th.
and on that point, I
Close
didn't-
registration book September 24th.
so if there's just one person on the 2 acre, they get both votes.
Yeah.
If one person on the title, and it's a 2-acre parcel, they get both the votes. But a lot of heavy influence from their other person, I bet.
Feel apart.
So,
Okay,
all
that's
right.
it.
Moving on, old business. Discuss and possible action on pending insurance claim with 39th Avenue pump failure. We have received a notification from the Registrar of Contractors that they want to do an inspection on 7/31 at 10 a.m. And I would like Larry to be able to go to that if he could.
Okay.
Okay. Did you get a copy of the complaint and everything? Well, you probably
I
do.
believe
It's
it.
this thick. It's like minutes and everything. I mean, if we need to get copies, do you want a copy of it too?
Yeah, I would like to have it.
Brenda, maybe you could make this for each of them and give me mine back, or keep whatever you need, make 3 copies, maybe, not now.
Okay.
Not now, but I'll let you do that with you if you would. Thanks. Okay, so no action at this point. We just want to keep following this up until something good happens. Discuss and possible action on the HOA agreement. Larry, you were handling that.
Tim and I have met one time, and he's kind of, he'd put together, I don't know if you guys got a copy of it, basically the second page of it. When we met, I kind of expressed that we might want to have a starting and closing, a way in and a way out for both parties, basically. And basically, he thought that we discussed basically making it that it's just that we're doing it as a goodwill gesture, to where really it's not like it's a lease where there's a time to start and a time to end it. Basically, if we decided not to extend that courtesy anymore, the district could do that. But basically, it says what he added to it is the Sunburst Farms Irrigation we're going to provide space at the well site, at one of the well site, home to the homeowner station for the purpose of storing seasonal materials. This has been provided as a courtesy for one community organization to another since the early 70s. And basically, if we're providing it as a courtesy, it really, you almost don't need a starting date and an end date, because
Right.
we're just doing it as a courtesy. So personally, I think what we have here is sufficient to cover the district for, in a way, it's kind of sad to me that we can't do it on a handshake between the two organizations. But if we're going to do something, I think this covers this as far as insurance. If somebody's over there and falls down when they're coming to go into it, or if somebody steals something out of the container, that we're being relieved of any responsibility for that. And I think this is sufficient for us. I guess it's
I would like to add one.
okay.
And that is that either party may terminate in writing with X number of days' notice. I think you have to have something in there that says we can terminate this agreement. And the reason that may be important, I know that the HOA or co-op, at one point there was a rumor that they were going to spend their money and then not exist anymore. So what happens to that Connex then?
Well, they would just probably sell the assets off. They would just sell the assets off.
Well,
Just go-
but so I think...
Maybe we get lucky and
there
they leave
needs-
it there and we can take it over.
But don't you think there needs to be something at the end, something to say, something's going to happen in 30 days or 14 days or whatever. We're giving you notice that we're either going to move it away or we're going to sell it, it's going to disappear. Or we say, hey, we've got to have something else over there and we don't have room for it anymore or whatever.
I think as long as we provide them with something in writing that, hey, you need to move your container, we've had a change of heart, we're not going to be cooperative, or we notice that you're out of existence, you have this many days to move your container or we're going to dispose of it.
I'll agree with you.
Okay, I think it's important to have it on here, but I'm not going to make a big stink about it. So.
I'm just kind of, I'm not to kind of complicate this, but this kind of runs back to the same problem we had with the pump. You guys said that you guys are covering yourselves with this agreement. If someone was to get hurt, liability, damage, fire, whatever, or...
But they can't store hazardous materials.
I understand, but what are you guys getting from them to subrogate the insurance?
No, it's not our insurance is covering it. Their insurance is covering it.
Okay, what are you getting for their insurance to cover it?
Oh, there should be a certificate of insurance.
That's what I'm asking, because right now,
Yeah.
if you're not getting a certificate to subrogate the insurance or to cover you guys, I'm saying you need to be a policyholder, a loss on there, because if you're not, something happens. I don't think you guys realize it. And I've done this where I've let people park on my property and something happens. I'm on the hook if I don't have the insurance, which means the farm is on the hook, or the
Right, the district.
district, I'm sorry.
Yeah, it's okay.
I'm just saying, if you don't have that, and it's kind of going back to the same thing, not having this, and then trying to go back and fight after it later. I mean, even though you're doing a good deed, but somebody does get hurt and they don't have insurance, or their insurance doesn't cover this, it's all coming back to you
And
guys.
this will be an issue every year because we'll need a new certificate.
No, but
No,
you're
no,
gonna have
I'm
to
not
get a
arguing. I'm saying yes.
You'll just have to get a cert, I'm just saying, but is that being,
So we would have to follow it up once a year to get that. Victor?
It's just being extended as a courtesy. It's been going on forever and ever. You can start chasing downhill, rabbit holes. And if you hire somebody to babysit your child and that person doesn't have their own liability insurance, or you could get sued for workman's compensation, but people do it all the time. There's just courtesies within
I understand.
minor deals like this that people just extend the courtesy,
I understand,
and
but,
they're willing to take the risk because the risk is so minuscule that it's not worth fighting the fight.
that's, and I kind of seem a little Paul based in the line of work that you're in, because you see this kind of stuff when you go to people's properties and
Sure.
don't store, and all of a sudden you guys go there, there's a small fire, and people got ammunition in there.
Right.
You just never know what's going to happen.
I understand, but they're also owners of this irrigation district. The people that participate in the HOA are also owners of this irrigation district.
But the
So they have vested
associate-
interest in the sanctity of the irrigation district
Well,
as
that's-
well.
that
It's
is-
not somebody just parking a car over there.
That is true, but it is an association that owns that Connex. It's an association. It's not those people. It's the association. I think you're making a good point, and it's up to the board whether they want to protect us. And I would say we should be protected.
I mean, like I said, I agree it's a handshake deal, but you just get into what, you're getting into a really great area here with, it, like I said, it's only gonna take, I just say it's only gonna,
We can start going down to the volunteer labor, and that comes into stuff things. She slips and falls. We're liable for it. Are we gonna cover her in workman's compensation? They're just things that people do that we accept the minuscule responsibility aligned with whatever that is. If we want to start going down there, then let's just keep going down all the way down to the very end. And we're gonna basically litigate ourselves out of existence. Is what we're gonna do.
Yeah, I think we could have a certificate of insurance from them, and if they came in and we had a piece of pipe laying on the ground and they tripped over it, even though we've got a certificate for them, they're not gonna go after their insurance company, they're still gonna go after our insurance company.
right, but the fact that you have it, see, that's the point, is that you have it and you have something in writing, that begins the first part of subrogating the insurance back, because you already have a written agreement and you have their insurance.
So
You
so
go-
are you
you
saying
become a
that,
plaintiff
are you
versus
saying that
defendant.
maybe it's better just to leave it without an agreement, do it on a handshake, and
No.
not worry about it?
No, because now it's your property. You're basically, in the way that, without being an attorney, you've opened your property to say, come on in, I am accepting liability because this is my property, is what you've done.
Let me ask you something, Larry. Do you think if you talk to him, he'd give us a certificate and we'd just go ahead and pass this?
We can ask them, but
Yeah.
we'll have to do that. I don't even know that,
They have insurance.
They have,
Yeah, they're-
oh no, they
they're-
absolutely
I
have
think you
insurance.
just write in there that on a certain date of every year, they have to provide a copy of their insurance.
Right, and then we'll need to follow it up on it. It'll have to be on the calendar.
we can do that. Good. We'll have to, they'll still, we can approve it, and then if they don't approve it, we'll have to revisit it.
Well,
It's a
we'll
courtesy.
do
It's
it
gonna be
with
canceled
item
anytime.
F.
Well, if you cancel, you're going to be named as a lost payee, so if it's canceled, you'll get notice from the insurance company that the service has been canceled.
What I'm saying, if they
If
don't
they're bored.
want to provide for the policy, insurance policy, you just vote, the board says, okay, we're just not going to do it then anymore, then you could just always cancel the agreement. I'm not saying cancel the policy, they can just cancel the agreement. There's nothing tying anybody in.
Right, no, I understand, it's just, like you said, it's a good faith, good deed,
is
and
the
then it
add-on
turns
to
it
it?
backfires on you.
F,
So item F should say, certificate of insurance to be provided to district annually by July 1st.
okay.
So provided by the co-op to the district by, why don't we say July 15th? Since they haven't given it to us yet. Okay. So, shall we approve this with the change and, and then see what they say?
Okay?
All right, do I hear a motion?
So moved.
I make a motion to.
Oh, she said so moved.
Oh,
To
So
approve.
moved, it was easy.
yeah.
So moved.
I second it.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. Okay, discussing possible action on City of Phoenix Drain. You've already given us an update on this, Richard. Is there anything else you need to add? Oh, we do have how much time for replacement and capitalization? Do you have that yet?
No, I don't
Okay.
know. It'll be, my goal is to have it done by July 21st.
Okay,
That's 7 and 8.
all right. So I move to table that till next meeting. Okay. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Discussing possible action on the scheduling irrigation increments of time. I did not put this on the agenda, and I can't remember what we were talking about.
I did and got, what, 2 meetings ago? All I'm saying is, I think there was something to do with the irrigators changing over. There wasn't enough time frame from, let's say, running here down to Acoma to do the changeover. If we allowed the homeowners to do like 5-minute increments on extending it, and that's what I can remember. I mean, it's been so long ago.
Yeah, that you are reminding me of that, though. And I think we've done this now for what, 2 or 3 years, Richard, with the 5-minute increments?
Yes.
So why don't we wait and see if the GPS tells us anything?
That would be good.
And then we can, I would like to table this indefinitely for the moment, but keep it in mind that we want to see how the GPS impacts it, if we can learn anything from that.
Are we getting
that work
any
for you?
complaints? I haven't heard of a one.
I think the reason this was left on is because Walt made a suggestion that maybe that some of our time constraints as far as having an irrigator have to be at 2 spots at the same time was more frequent when we were on 5 minutes apart instead of the 15-minute scheduling different.
Right.
And I don't know how I don't know what criteria he used to come to that conclusion, but I don't know that it's necessarily.
I'd like to see the info that he used for that.
Yeah.
'Cause it just doesn't make sense.
No.
Once you get 10 minutes off, you're now 5 minutes apart.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You get 10 minutes off from if you're 15 minutes apart, you get 10 minutes off, now you're 5 minutes apart. That's math.
And if it's during the day, you help them. You know, if they say, hey, I'm supposed to be 2 places at once or 3 places at once, you go to one and they work out the others, and then they look and see who can handle maybe 5 minutes more or a couple minutes less if we turn them off a couple minutes early, which I know we try not to do, but we also don't want them to run over. So, okay, I move that we table it indefinitely.
I second.
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Okay, good, motion carries. Discussing possible action on intellectual property agreement. I asked Brett and Rick if they would sign a document, and both of them have declined. And I contacted Dwight Purdy and said, did you sign one? And he said, no. We've never had anybody. Now, the reason Rick and Brett have declined is that any information that they have access to is public information. And so the only information that they believe is not public information is what Brenda has access to, which is any credit cards, any checks. And so that's with you. So I think maybe you would be the only person that would need to sign something, and nobody else would.
I have a question on, what are we talking about? Is it proprietary agreement, which it says, or as you said, property? 2 different things.
Oh, this is wrong. It should this should be intellectual property agreement, not proprietary is proprietary information.
Well, I
This was
understand
just a
that, but that's
typo.
why I want to know what it says here,
Yeah, this meant property.
property.
Yeah.
Okay.
But if I do recall, a lot of your argument was that they did it for free for the neighborhood. Now they're saying, no, it's mine.
Oh, no, they're doing it for the neighborhood still, and they're going to continue.
But the fact that I'm saying, with the fact that they don't want to release that property to the
District.
District, yeah.
to the district, I'm sorry, to the district, then that's saying that they're holding on to personal possession of that property, which at any time they can come in and say, it's mine, I'm gonna start, I can mess, I can change it, I can do whatever I want. Now, you may say that may never happen, but I don't think 4 or 5 months ago, you guys would have thought they would have declined to sign this document that you're asking for.
I thought they probably would, but I've run into a
I
stone
thought
wall.
you said they would probably sign it.
I thought they would, and I was going to, since we hadn't come up with a different, what do they call it, an NDA?
Non-disclosure agreement.
That I thought, okay, I'll give them the one that Karen gave me that they use in their business. And so I asked them both after the last meeting, and both of them gave me a lot of reasons why not, why they didn't think it was necessary to sign it.
Well,
I don't
I
think-
think you're mixing two things together here. I think the thing that you're saying they won't sign is
That they won't divulge.
is a non-disclosure agreement, not the intellectual proprietary or whatever how you pronounce it, proprietary agreement. One is the rights to the program, and one is saying that they're not going to discuss anything they see when they're on the program. So-
And that's what an NDA would cover, is that they're not going to divulge any information to, they're not going to send advertisements to all of our customers
But
or,
that's not what's on the agenda.
Sell it.
We need to, what the argument was the control of the software, that the software or program, whatever you want to call it, is the property of Sunburst Farms Irrigation District and not the property of either Rick or whoever establishes a software program for the farms. That's what the issue was.
And then on top of it was the passwords and accessibility.
So there's
and you guys pretty much have access to everything. You guys do here, and they do not have access.
But we're going away from
But
the
they
traditional
developed the
thing.
program, they have access.
On the
I thought we
software.
tabled this last month.
Well, we did, but this the NDA was still on here. We said we're not going to entertain getting a new
I
program.
can promise you that if I were devoting the time that they devoted to it, and I had to sign something that going to cost me 1 ounce of aggravation, I would say, it's over.
And that's
Deal
kind
with
of
it on
what-
your own, and if we push them too hard, that may be where we're going.
I would
We're
like
getting
to,
a lot of value for $0.
absolutely.
That's my position.
I would like to table this indefinitely and forget about it. I think we probably need to have whoever is the office manager who has access to the real proprietary
What's
information.
proprietary? Check numbers and proprietary. We don't have credit cards. We don't take credit cards. You have an address, you got a bill, and that's it.
But we've talked about, do we do any credit cards?
No.
Okay, so, but we've talked about the possibility of doing that in the future, and in fact,
Lynette has got as much proprietary information as they have access to if she wanted to look at a bill.
I
You
know,
want my
and that's
bill,
what
knock
we
yourself
said,
out.
that's
I
what we
really don't
said.
care.
That's what we
They're
said.
upside
So
down.
I move that we table this indefinitely.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All opposed?
Abstain.
Abstain, okay. Okay, discuss and possible action on the claim for the 43rd Avenue standpipe damage. Where does that stand? Does anyone know?
Basically, there's two insurance companies who are still, neither one is accepting responsibility. Basically, our only alternative is we are allowed to sue both of them, both drivers, on one lawsuit in small claims court. And we can actually do that on the we can get all the paperwork off the internet. We just have to determine what district we're in and order the paperwork, and then we have to assign somebody to represent the district. So I don't
How
know.
much money are we talking?
It was very little, I was like.
It
To file the claim, to file the lawsuit and
180,
small claims?
well, to go to small claims court,
Under $1,500.
well, last time I went, it was $185.
Yeah, to file.
And you can represent yourself.
Yeah.
Okay, but
I mean,
how,
it
Well,
doesn't
because
take
we're a
that-
question was
district,
how much
because we're a district,
damage?
we have to designate one,
It's
we,
a-
in small claims court, you could go up to $8,000.
It's like 10, 90,
Yeah.
10,001.
Yeah.
10,001 goes to,
Yeah.
how much is the damage? How much money?
Damn it.
Oh, if,
That's my
it's just a
question.
claim.
Is it worth our time?
Yeah,
yeah, 30,
It was about $4,000.
yeah, 30, I was
Okay.
gonna say 3,900.
okay. All right, so what do we want to do?
Two sticks of pipe.
I think we should, I would vote to go to small claims court.
I think we do.
Is that-
The thing, what it's gonna do is, both of those two people will get something from the court that they're being sued, and their insurance companies, they'll call their insurance companies, say, hey, I'm getting sued over this, and then their insurance companies will.
I make a motion that we take it to small claims court.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries.
You need to designate
What?
the person.
Yeah,
Yeah,
the
yeah.
guy that made the motion.
Okay, that's
Well,
a second motion, thank you.
Now, Brenda, if you'll get online and look at what district we're in, what jurisdiction, and get all the paperwork, and I think you can get the paperwork for us to designate somebody and all that, get all the paperwork together, and then when you have all that, I'll go forward with it.
Who wants to be a lawyer? It's easy.
Yeah.
All you do is present.
I doubt, I think once they get
The insurance, yeah.
their insurance,
Oh, yeah.
yeah,
They'll say, oh, dang.
they'll subdivide it.
Okay, item G, discuss and possible action on the claim for 41st Avenue standpipe damage. It's all fixed, right?
It's all fixed, they've, the company, in fact, I called him yesterday. He's out of town yesterday, today, he'll be back Thursday, so I left a message. Last week or the week before, he had gotten the two quotes and then our cost to patch it to get through that one irrigation, and he said, fine, we'll pay you.
How much is that?
It was $2,600 for the company that actually fixed it, and $928 for us to patch it for that first week.
Okay. All right, so let's, I move that we table this until next month, because we haven't recovered the money, right?
Correct.
Okay, so I move that we table this until next month.
Second.
All in favor, aye? Opposed?
Almost vote on.
I'm sorry?
Aye.
Aye,
vote
okay,
aye.
motion carries. Okay. All right, new business. Discuss and possible action to approve William Sullivan, General Counsel, attorney fees in the amount of $774.86. And I just got another bill for this today. I move that we pay the $774.86.
Am I gonna?
This is he's late in billing, isn't he?
Well, there was a 2014, I think, that was on there. Did I bring that? That was on there before, and as a balance brought forward.
What is common cost?
Well, that was zero, wasn't it?
No, it's $18.56. I mean, I understand mileage, but I don't understand
I
common
don't know what
cost.
common cost is either. And I do not have my copy.
So didn't we pay for part of this already?
Yeah, we
I
paid the $1,000.
thought we did too.
Yeah.
Oh, we paid, Brenda, what did we pay last time? It was the 3,200 or something?
Let me look here.
So did it
So
not
all
bill
we
us?
owe is the 774. I believe.
Yeah, we paid the 1014.75. And we currently.
No, that's the
owe-
wrong
No,
current.
we're on
Oh,
Sullivan,
Okay.
right? We're on Sullivan?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
are. I was just gonna look at the other one.
You say common cost?
Yeah, I don't know what common cost are.
That's a fee associated between two entities or two buildings or two divisions. They share the same cost, so it's billing it out, so we may have a collection department and a legal, I'm just throwing something out there. So it's a common cost to cover
Yeah,
overhead
there is a-
expenses.
I think we paid the
The
1014.
right, the 1014 was paid, and the one that I got today was for the 774, 86.
No,
No, it could have been on the agenda.
the 774.86 was June 5th date. And we had a meeting on the June 5th, and we approved the
Right.
attorney fees of,
I just know we visited once the minutes where he was at the meeting over at the church, and
Right.
there's stuff on there for that again.
Right,
so-
yeah, I know.
We've already
And
gone.
that's,
so we approved the 1014.75 at the June 5th meeting. So we need to deduct that, and that's what I did. I deducted the 1014.75, and it left us a balance that's on the agenda of 774.86.
So, general invoice, that's this one.
Well, that's weird, because that's on April 3rd for the,
yeah,
Right.
it says
And that
April
was the
2nd,
night
April
that-
3rd, and April, well, the
I
common
think what-
cost is the 30th.
I thought what happened is they had billed us right before that meeting, and then this was what remained from the prep that I spent with him explaining what we were doing, and then, which he said, review of agenda and communications with me regarding the executive session, because he called me like on his way.
yeah,
And-
but that should have been approved in the May or the June.
Well, I think it came after, if we don't want to approve it, we don't have to. Or we can approve it pending the
Do
investigation.
you want me to go look at the bill and see what it says?
Yes, okay. All right, and while you do that, do we want to move to the next one?
Yes.
Okay, I contacted Radix today and said that I didn't think that we should be billed a late charge of $38.85. And she said, oh my God, I'm sorry, you shouldn't have been. Because I explained that we have to approve these in our meetings, and we do that at first Tuesday of every month. And she said, not to worry, they will take off the $38.85, and we will owe, what was the balance?
4,100 basically.
No, because we had paid,
$39.95.
we had already paid $25.90.
They say, this is saying 1543.85.
Take 28.
1505 was current, and then, okay, so the 1505 is what we need to pay. So, and that would make sense, the 1543.85 on here, if it's less 38.85, it becomes 1505. Okay. All right, there was a previous balance of 32,32.63, which I believe was for some of his work on the, there was some previous county stuff, and there's also some work on the,
Yeah, this is on the head, so that's all fired up.
it was
That's
on
March.
the, right, he looked at the letter from the county. I believe he also did the employee handbook, was back there in that 3,000. And so that was taken care of, and then the 1014 would have been for this, which was all relating to the county. And then that ended, common cost is something that they add in, it's on every bill. So, and then because this period ended, it was for services through 3/31. So the current bill is for the 4/3. Thank you, Brendan. So I move that we pay the $774.86 to William Sullivan offices.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, motion carries. And then Radix, as we were just talking, Brenda, you didn't hear, but I got them to take off the late fee of $38.85. So what we owe is $15.05. So I move, and they will not bill us any more late fees. So our account is no good. And so I move that we pay well, here's the question. For Larry and Renee, we can have this taken from the deposit because there won't be any activity now.
Oh, okay,
For a while.
well, let's take it
So
out. I
do-
would rather take it out of the deposit we gave them.
Okay.
I mean, really.
All right, so, okay, I can let them know tomorrow, but I move that we take, that we pay the $15.05 from the deposit.
Real quick, just to make sure, usually you don't get a bill till after the retainer is exhausted, so just, did you check the bill?
She gave me the option.
Okay, I'm
Yep.
just saying, usually,
Yeah.
usually the retainer goes first, then you get a bill, you never get a bill.
Yeah, she-
No, this is
she's
not a
given
retainer.
us the option.
It's-
Go ahead.
It's not a retainer like they, both of these firms have not done a retainer, they've done a deposit that's set up in a trust.
That's what a retainer, that's where a retainer goes, it goes to the trust.
They're calling it a deposit and they're allowing us to do it.
Okay, it's
Yeah.
the same thing, just,
They want to keep that until actually the end of the case, I believe, but she gave me this option, so we don't be able to be in it.
How many attorneys are we dealing with now?
2? Oh, well, 3, if you count Alan.
We have,
Alan?
yeah, we have Alan for like our in arrears thing. Sullivan was for our, well, for the acreage reviewing that. And then the other one is for the suit.
I thought that was.
It's not a suit, it's a
Well,
complaint.
whatever it is.
It's a
Yeah,
complaint.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, so, all right, did I hear a second? Did we finish that?
I thought so. Oh, so I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, okay, discussing possible action on, no,
First item.
okay, where am I? On who has access to GPS. I didn't put this on here, so who wants to talk about that?
I thought Larry was gonna, we voted on it last time, and Larry said he'd check it out to which is the best.
Well, no,
Well,
we
agreed to-
decided.
Yeah, we agreed to go with affordable GPS.
Right.
Yeah, so,
I think somebody had put it on,
What does it mean?
well, one of the arguments you heard from one of the homeowners was who's gonna have access to that information. And I'm just trying to reiterate what I remember was,
yeah.
would someone who has GPS on their vehicle being monitored have access to that information?
He would have to. I
Okay,
mean,
but
he would
that's-
have to because he's got to monitor the other guys.
Okay, but that's, what the argument was, wasn't for me, it was somebody else, it was basically
Yeah.
the coyote having the front door to the hen house. That's
Right.
what the argument was.
And I think that the argument was that he thought you could manipulate it,
Correct.
but you cannot.
right.
I understand.
Because
So what do you
believe me,
put
he
on?
is so
They can't
technologically astute.
They can get,
But still, at some point in the future, you are gonna have to have decide who's gonna have access to it.
Right.
Because Richard can't be the only person with access to it,
Right.
because.
No, I think
No,
that,
that's not what the, I'm just saying, that's what that's what I remember from the last
I don't care.
discussion about this.
You
I
know,
would,
the GPS though, you can go on there and you can get reports, but you cannot manipulate them. You can't change the report. You can't, they could go on and get past history, but they can't change the history.
Oh my gosh, you guys are not keeping up with technology. You'd be surprised at things people can do. I'm just saying.
we are not a village of hackers right here.
Nobody said that. Nobody said that.
We aren't, so.
I'm just saying you just be a
What
little
would
more
they get
open-minded.
if they acted?
You know, we could use, David Rich had written a letter recently, and I love what he said in this, but he said, you don't plan for the probable, you plan for the awful possibilities or the
Hope for the
improbable.
best and expect the
That's what
worst.
you're saying.
I know it, and we could have applied that to everything we've discussed tonight. And the conics, everything. We could have applied that. And do we want to?
As far as the GPS goes, if it was totally up to me, the irrigation truck, you could go to our website and you could see watch our irrigation truck.
Best idea.
That's real
I
time.
do not.
Best idea you've ever had.
I would,
hate that idea.
I would love to just be able to go on there and say, okay, I'm supposed to get irrigation at 8 o'clock, where's he at? And
Or if you
know
need,
right where,
or if
know
you're
right
running
where-
over, if you're running over,
Yeah.
and he's falling asleep, so it happens. People, they have fallen asleep, and he's sitting over there for 30 minutes, you can drive over there and say, hey, I'm running way over. I don't know, I think it's a great idea.
But I would be happy with just the irrigation manager and whoever we want to designate see it.
I designate you. I move that we have Larry and Richard be the two people who have access to GPS.
That's pretty limited, I think, maybe do it. That's my
You think you should have who do it?
A committee have.
That's a lot.
Oh, we tried
Well, you
that.
guys just don't want GPS, so you're not gonna want anybody
Well-
to have it, so.
I'm not going to be involved with it. That's what I'll tell you.
Well, I think all board members should, if they want to, should be able to have access.
Oh, yeah, I think you should.
Yeah.
So I amend my motion to all board members and Richard.
I second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, discuss and possible action to approve $172.50 for loss of business for lot 14. The situation on this, if you guys remember, was that Don DeFord we had a leak, right?
We had a major break on the 2 acres west of her. And we kept patching it and replacing the section, and it just kept running and running. And we ended up in her yard by 12 feet. And as we were digging and chasing it, we found 2 lines.
Actually, you found one line, right?
No, we found 2.
We found the second one and you cut it.
Well, we found a line and cut it by accident. So,
Was it Blue State?
That
no,
was my first question.
No.
And that brings up an interesting discussion, which you and I had. If they say call 24 hours in advance and you call them on the spur of the moment because you've got people waiting for irrigation, do you take a chance and cut and do you take a chance, or do you shut down irrigation for 3 days until they get Blue Stake out there to do it?
Yeah.
By law, you were to wait till it is blue staked by the entities that own the lines. If it is not as built or recorded with the city, they do not have to mark it. It's a private utility, they will not mark it. You'll have to get a private locator, and you have to wait. If they don't come within 24 hours, they don't come within 48, you do it, you assume liability. Meaning if you call the gas company, and the only one that didn't show up is the gas company, you hit a gas line, you just bought a gas line and the repair and the fire department bill and everything else associated with it.
So we cut the line.
And you're
We know we
associated-
did, and they charged her, what, $75, and she got them to remove that. And then,
Which line are you guys talking about, too?
it was for
Cox.
CenturyLink,
Oh,
or
okay.
Cox, okay. So, yeah, I forgot the letter. Anyway, what happened then is she spent, 2 hours on the phone, she thought a long time, too long, on the phone trying to get them to waive that $75. No? Am I
No.
not saying it right?
no. Tell the whole story.
Well, she wants us to approve a loss of business,
Well,
which,
when we realized the line, there was 2 lines, and one of them was broken and one wasn't. So
got it.
we called them and said, come and check this line out. And they said, well, we'll be right out. It'll take us about 3 hours. So they came and they said, oh, this one is an abandoned line and this was a good one. You hit the wrong one. I know that. Fix it. Oh, this was the subcontractor from. They said, I don't have the right tools. And I said, are we going to have to pay for it? And they said, no, it was an accident where it was. It shouldn't have been there. Don't worry. I said, when are you going to come fix it? So I called Don and said, hey, you're going to be out tonight. They're coming tomorrow. Another subcontractor came out and said, oh, I have to call my supervisor on this one. And he said, we don't know what to do. Now CenturyLink doesn't want us to fix it. They want to send their own guy out.
CenturyLink
It
or
was
Cox?
Cox,
Cox.
it was Cox,
Okay.
yeah,
Whoever
I
it
thought CenturyLink too.
And so the next day, they came out and they fixed it. So I said, okay, Don, don't pay, there's going to be no charge. Well, they ended up charging her $75. So I called them and they won't talk to me, they have to talk to the homeowner. So I rehearsed Don on what to tell her, what to tell them, and how it went down, and it took 2.5, 3 days for them to fix it, which I thought was ludicrous. But it was their fault that they took so long. So she called them and she did get it erased. But then she said she spent so much time, she wanted us to reimburse us for her time.
She's saying
I thought you couldn't have businesses. We ostensibly don't have businesses in the district.
You're allowed to have some businesses.
We do have some
Yeah.
businesses.
and they're allowed, you can have cottage industries and stuff, she's a realtor, works out of her house. So, but here's what it says. So the Cox cable cut for no internet for 4 days at $35 a day for $140. And then June 4th, called Cox to find out why a $75 service charge was on my Cox bill. Spent 20 minutes on the phone, my time at $30 an hour, $10. June 6th, 45 minutes to Sabrina at Cox to agree to credit the $75. They charged my bill for the service fee at $30 an hour. So she's saying $22.50 for a total of $172.50. My take is that, now, did they, give her credit for the internet?
No, they waived the $75 charge.
Yeah, but she's saying she was out for 4 days at $35 a day.
No,
Thank you, guys.
she was just out.
My thinking is if Cox indeed said that the cable wasn't where it was supposed to be and you hit it no problem, we shouldn't have any liability for the
You're talking
consequence.
about somebody who can't speak for that. You're talking about a subcontractor that's like that.
Yeah, well, Cox hasn't sent us a bill to fix it.
Because they're not going to, because they're going to send it to the homeowner. Got a lot, the other thing too, I'm just kind of playing devil's advocate, this kind of goes back to your standpipe. The kid's going to say it was an accident, why are you suing me? It's the same thing with this lady's doing. She wants to be recouped for the out-of-pocket expenses, and we're not her fault. This homeowner wants to be recouped for the expenses that she had. You guys are suing somebody for an accident. Somebody's asking you for money for an accident.
The other thing I see on this is she's asking for reimbursement of her time.
Right.
She
I know.
she has cell phones, I'm fairly certain
Right.
that she has that. Cox is her internet provider. If she has an intelligent telephone, she could have got up on the internet on her phone and done limited stuff. It's one thing for us to pay for any cost to hook her back up and like to Cox, but she's asking for money for her time, and I think you're setting a dangerous precedent by paying for something like that.
Right. I would not agree to pay for her time because, heck, my time might be worth more than what she's saying hers is. And if I go out, am I going to make you guys pay for that? I don't think, how you value your time is your own. She's a realtor. How do you even do that?
But she has a cell phone,
She certainly does. I call
and
her.
she most probably has internet on her cell phone. So
Yeah.
she probably still had access to the internet. She was inconvenienced, but not out of business.
Okay. Good point. What do you guys want to do?
I wouldn't pay her anything for her time. Again, if the cable was in the wrong spot, evidently it wasn't our fault.
But you didn't know it was in the wrong spot because you did it before you got it marked.
Well, and that's why I talked with you about this, because we need to make a decision, and sometimes it's going to be on the spur of the moment. If we know that we're going to knock everybody out of service for 3 days, until we can get that thing located, then versus taking a risk on cutting that cable. And we thought we found it. I mean, we thought we knew exactly where it was. Unfortunately, there was one right below it,
But
another
didn't,
foot down or something.
didn't Cox waive the cost to restore?
Yes.
Yes.
That's what I heard. We would possibly be liable for any costs we had that was caused to what we did, but since there was no cost, if it was waived, we have no dollar liability on it.
Do I hear a motion
I make a motion to table it.
to table it or not pay it?
Yeah, no action or.
No action.
Yeah.
No action, okay. Second?
Second.
All in favor, aye. All right. Discuss and possible action on emailing bills. Have we made progress on that?
I have, Anthony came in today,
Oh, good.
and we got a lot of things worked out. I just got one little hiccup. I was on the phone with Quest for CenturyLink for a little while today. My server settings are coming up incorrect. So,
Server study.
no, server
Settings.
settings.
Settings. okay.
Settings. So I need to call them back on Thursday to get that part correct.
Okay.
Anthony said he didn't know for sure, exactly why it was like that, but it would probably require another phone call.
Okay,
So,
all right. So do you think you'll be able to get it done this month?
oh, absolutely, I will.
Perfect.
I was
Okay.
hoping to get it done today, but
Yeah, okay. All right, I move that we table this indefinitely.
Let's second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Motion carries.
Okay, can I make a comment real quick?
Sure.
It doesn't really, it applies somewhat to this. I would just like to see on paper bills that the email option is available in a prominent spot so people will gravitate towards that. So we can say postage, we can say printing, we can say paper, and we can say time.
That could be
It
That's a good idea, I think.
It's just every single month it's on there, every single month, in a prominent position, not in a buried
Yeah.
location.
You can now pay online.
Yeah,
Sign up.
you can
Make it
now,
pretty
you have your,
now.
paperless
Well, not pay
paperless bills,
Yeah.
paperless bills.
That you
So
get.
not pay online, you can
Yeah.
receive your bill on your bill via.
Sign up today, get your billing online or.
Right.
No, your statement.
All right.
that's a good.
Next item, discuss and possible action on elections/voting items. And I wanted to have this appear until November, and I know you have some
Well, that'll
concerns
come
about that.
under, to me, that'll come under the election procedure, under the report for
And
the ad hoc committee.
And here's why I want it on here anyway, because the committee, you guys are going to have to get this stuff all done pretty quick.
I understand that, but that can come out under the report, and quite frankly, I didn't want to get into this because I didn't think it would be a monumental thing. We all have all these subcommittees. They're not put down that every subcommittee has to report until this or that. To me, if you want it reported out, every month, we're gonna do that, but we're also, if we have to call a special board of directors meeting, we're gonna do it, because I see it, and, I've talked to Peggy, it's very, very important that we get that information out.
Right.
So I don't understand, other than you're saying, hey, this is just forcing us, or whatever, to report it out, and I think it's a responsible committee.
I agree with that. And the reason that I would like to have it on here is that this may go beyond the responsibilities of the committee, because once you guys have,
We'll
once
have
you,
to call a special meeting, and I understand that, never mind.
I'm not sure why we'd have to call a special meeting. I'm just saying at the regular meeting that, because there may be different
Whatever,
information.
I'm not gonna
Okay.
argue it anymore, I know where you stand, and
Okay.
that's it, I know where you're doing.
Discuss and possible action on raises for non-management people.
What are you gonna do on the last one? You didn't move to do anything.
It's same.
No act, well, I'm leaving it there. I would like it to appear on the,
Then you can table it till the next.
it'll be tabled, yeah. I move that we table it till next month.
A second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Motion carries. Okay, so the raises for the non-management people. We reviewed what was budgeted, and we reviewed the appraisal, the performance appraisals. And do I hear a motion on, or do we need to discuss what we want to do? It could be as simple as we move to have $1.30 for irrigation and 90 cents for maintenance, holding the 40 cents for maintenance until the driver's license is provided.
And these raises are for, what was the reason for the raises?
I thought it was 50 cents and 40 cents is what we discussed, right?
It was 50 cents and 40 cents for the repair contingent, the 40 cents to be paid to Manny once he gets his driver's license.
Right.
And the other ones were 40 cents, I thought.
40, and 50. It was $1.30.
Okay, $1 for
Yeah.
Combined.
combined.
$1.30.
Yeah, okay.
$1 for the three of them, and so it was a total of $2.10. So, do we want to make a motion? Did I explain it well enough that we can so move? Or do I need to say it again?
Well, no, I think we can so move.
Okay.
Okay,
Okay,
second.
second.
All in favor, aye. Motion carries. Okay. Okay, we had a suggestion that came up in the employee handbook meeting that was to change the payroll to every other week. And the reason that this was brought up was that if we do it every other week, we're going to save half the money.
How do you save half
How
the
do you
money?
save money when only all the, this is what I don't understand. I don't see how we save money for the simple reason, there's direct deposit. Only one person gets a check every month or every week. And so I don't understand that scenario when they have direct deposit, and then to change right now to go into every other week, you know, some of our guys, I imagine all of them, live from paycheck to paycheck, so that's going to be, to me, quite a hit to them. I think we need to talk to them. You know, I know about it, but I don't see where we're going to be saving the money.
Have you checked with ADP to see, or the payroll, how much different it would cost us?
Well, the only thing we would be saving is the ADP that would charge us every week
Right.
versus every 2 weeks.
So how much is
Talking
that?
about having an outside.
So it would be
We
half.
already do
Oh,
that.
we do?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it would be half as much, right?
Yeah.
It would be half as much.
Right.
We would
It's
do it
what-
every other week instead of every week.
Yeah, it's like $136, depends on how many weeks we have in that month.
That's $136 a month.
A month, right.
And what
So
do they
That we
charge?
pay or that we would save? I'm sorry.
we pay now.
Hey,
We pay.
Yeah.
So we would pay half of that,
and I think,
roughly.
and I think the guys would have a hard time.
Yeah.
Okay, wait, I think, you're paying 136, you just assume 4 weeks, you're paying roughly $40 or $35, $33 a week to process your payroll. I mean, I've already heard these conversations go back and forth about some of the help that you have. It just seems for $30, you're gonna make it that much harder on these guys?
Yeah, I know.
And we used to pay every other week. And Brenda, on an average, how many weeks did you and I have to loan somebody money?
No, Richard, we've never been on a 2-week pay here, not since I've
I
been
mean,
here.
even if you pay every week, I pay every week. When I hire a young kid as a laborer, I'm just saying, just at the lowest position, he still has to wait 2 weeks. If I hire him on the money, he's not getting his paycheck till the following Friday. I do loan people money, it's hard. We go 2 weeks, now here's the problem with 2 weeks. The check comes in 2 weeks, he's gotta go back and try to remember if something's wrong or there's a discrepancy in payroll.
Well, he should be keeping that daily.
Well, but here's the problem. That young man or woman
Absolutely.
gets their paycheck and looks at it on Friday and goes, I got a problem from 2 weeks ago.
And that happens.
Yes.
So
And it's gonna happen a lot.
Yep.
I don't understand saving $35 a week and put these people who are, I mean, these aren't top wages.
I agree.
I don't think you're saving any money. You're already having a hard enough time finding really good talent because there's a job market out there that's.
I think we would, if we did it, we would have to transition them.
How do you transition
I
somebody?
don't, I
We
do,
we would probably have to accommodate them at first to give them.
You don't have money in the
advance.
budget to do that, what are you gonna do, take part of their paycheck and have them sign their check back when they get their check? You're asking for another accounting nightmare.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a motion to table this item indefinitely.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
I'm going to abstain. So, okay, that was the last item. What I've got on here for future items is to do the inventory of the pipe and to,
What about the hiring of 2 employees? Did we skip one?
we took it off the
We
agenda.
took,
Oh.
I took it off the agenda.
And
Oh.
billing and collections, to reinstate the billing and collections.
And I don't understand, I don't understand, we need to put something on there about this email about the vendor.
Okay.
I put that on there.
Do you, yeah, oh, you put it
I
down
put it on
there?
my paperwork.
Okay. What is
And
this?
Yeah,
I know-
send
I
us-
know we
send us the
approved the
email.
GPS.
Yeah.
Did we approve to go ahead and start it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, send it, whatever.
I know we voted for the new budget, so.
Yeah.
right.
we'll make
Well,
sure
we
we-
probably had to wait for the new
Right.
budget.
Sorry.
Oh, yeah.
I think you should do it at ASAP.
Okay.
Is there, who handles the maintenance and stuff around here, like say with the building and stuff?
It's in the new budget.
Who handles
Yeah. Like light
Okay.
bulbs, stuff like that, or minor repairs in the building?
We,
The only reason why I say that is I haven't been here that long, but since I've been here, this is kind of pet peeve. That clock has been off 37 minutes since I've been here.
I know.
What can we?
And I reset it. We got it clock because the other one was gaining time, and this is good
it was
news.
9:30, and I was so desperate, I was ready to shoot.
Every time it's off.
There being no further business, I'm adjourning, and it's 8:55 Verizon time. That's why I always look at my clock, or my phone, because you can't trust that.
Just saying.
I have a clock.
That's why irrigation's late, we couldn't go off.
Yeah, there it is.
My wife thinks that if you set the clocks 10 minutes early, you'll always be on.
Oh, no.
Because then you're looking to go, I have 10 minutes here.
Yeah, it's like,
I know how that goes.
Oh,